What's up, everyone? This is an update of the last recording, number 10. It's been over a month since the Capitol insurrection riot, and there's been a lot that's happened. I just wanted to cover some of it. Before I begin, something I didn't do in my last video was actually give a disclaimer, so I'll do that now. Please be advised that what you're about to see may be graphic. There's some never before seen videos. I'll be sharing some videos from my prior video where I talked live with Scotty about what I'm seeing and witnessing and my live reaction with him. Putting that all into a nicer, neater package and kind of narrating and reconstructing exactly what happened. Also adding new facts and information that's come out since then. There have been investigations into Capitol Police officers that I'll be highlighting at the end of the video, and also the actual impeachment trial itself and what's come of it. So I'll be talking a little bit about that here, so hope you enjoy. Right here you're seeing a bird's eye view of Washington, D.C., the Capitol building, the White House, where Trump gave his speech and where the supporters are marching. And you can see that sometime between 12:15 and 12:50 p.m., Trump gives a speech to his supporters, and it goes something like this.
And we fight. We fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore. After this, we're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. Here, we're going to walk down to the Capitol. And we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women. And we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them. Because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength, and you have to be strong.
Now, every sentence that Trump gave this day is going to be the subject of a lot of scrutiny on whether or not it rises to the bar of incitement of violence. And Trump's lawyers are going to make the argument that no, that it's pretty much ambiguous political rhetoric that doesn't really have context, meaning it's a little bit boastful. Now, I think that's horseshit, because you have people that literally wouldn't be there if it weren't for his rhetoric, even months leading up to this. And he also tweeted that Pence should do something unconstitutional and that he should throw away the electoral votes and uncertify the election results. The ironic part is that the basis of the Senate not convicting Donald Trump is that it was unconstitutional. The Senate could have actually convicted him the day after. Mitch McConnell decided not to have that vote, and he gave himself cover in the Republican Party to basically say that it's unconstitutional or that you can't convict an impeached president who's lost office. It's silly. Moving on, 12:53 to 1:03 p.m., the first barriers were breached. Officers were beginning to be harassed, and they were violently overwhelmed. Around 12:58 p.m., officers arrived with riot gear, and you can see that clearly that the officers are much better equipped in this video and that they're at least more prepared than they were initially. And around the same time period, chemicals were starting to be sprayed by both the rioters and the officers. Around 1:48 p.m., Chief Stephen Sund of the Capitol Police requests for immediate assistance from the D.C. National Guard. Now, that's actually former Chief Stephen Sund. He actually resigned after Nancy Pelosi called for him to step down. And there were also 6 U.S. Capitol Police officers who were suspended. 29 officers were under investigation for being complicit. I kind of suspected that might happen. It's upsetting. It's upsetting to know that bad apples are pretty common. It's not just 1 or 2 or 3. It's actually 6, and 29 were under investigation. Capitol Police Acting Chief Yogananda, I'm sorry if I pronounced this wrong. Chief Yogananda, Capitol Police Acting Chief Yogananda Pittman further directed that any member whose behavior is not in keeping with the department's rules of conduct will face appropriate discipline. At around 2 p.m., police removed the barricade at the northwest corner, and at around 2:11 p.m., rioters break into the building. So around 2:11 p.m., middle of the day, rioters break into the building, and it's around this time period I'm looking at the news and I'm just shocked. And what I'm thinking in my head, I didn't think it was very likely that the democracy would collapse, but somewhere in the back of my mind, I was thinking, how is this happening right now? Around 2:14 p.m., Eugene Goodman is chased by rioters, so it really did not take much time at all before they were in the Capitol building. And there's a good segment I have upcoming with Scotty where I pretty much show Eugene Goodman and his bold decision to stray the rioters away from the Senate chambers. Since then, 240 suspects have been charged. There were well over 140 officers that were hurt as a result of this riot insurrection. And I think that the officers, as you will see in some of the upcoming videos, they fought extremely valiantly. One officer has 2 cracked ribs. This was pretty gruesome here. One officer lost his eye. Another was stabbed with a metal fence stake. And at least 5 people died during the riot as well. In my talk with Scotty, I wasn't even clear on all these things that happened. I didn't realize this many people died or this many people were injured. Now, I kind of suspected that there would be that many injuries, but I didn't have that clear picture understanding as I do now. And it's sad because Mitch McConnell pretty much said that Donald Trump incited this insurrection. The Senate did not convict the ex-president during the impeachment trial. They were 10 votes short. They had a really convincing trial. And I think that 7 Republicans voting to convict Donald Trump is actually pretty decent. It's not good, it's decent. So now moving on with my live reaction and commentary with Scotty, I'll talk a lot about what was going on in the ground, some of the things I noticed, my just general reaction to all of it. Welcome, Scotty. I'm going to just set this up. What's up? So Scotty, oh my goodness, I'm blanking out. No, Scotty, Scotty Bradley. I was about to say like something else.
You're such a bad friend.
I'm a terrible friend. Jeez. All right, so I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, so now this makes sense. It's Infowars. Yeah, Infowars is insanely conspiratorial.
Yeah.
But for the purposes of this video, I think they did a pretty good job just skimming through it, recording and documenting. Jesus. All right.
So like this was like a cluster like fuck of a bunch of different alt-right individuals that all had like different goals, but like seemed to find like a common identity.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah. Like I think the Proud Boys were there. Like
Absolutely, the Proud Boys were there.
They're white. What's the difference between Proud Boys?
That's really important with the Proud Boys is that they're not white supremacists. Their leader is a person of color. They are just alt-right conservatives. So like that's why it's like really important with the Proud Boys. I'm like losing my face here. So like make sure that they're not called white supremacists because they are very inclusive. There's bigots.
So this is the part that kind of surprised me a little bit. There were officers like really like getting into freaking brawls with some of these people.
Yeah.
And I wasn't not that I wasn't expecting like aggression like this, but it's just seeing is a little bit different. Scotty, do you know what that yellow flag is in the background there or not?
With the snake on it?
Yeah.
It's the what is it? Don't tread on me flag.
Yeah.
It's like Republicanism. I think it started to become a little bit more prevalent. I think it's like kind of always been a thing, but it became like a big Tea Party mantra too. Like, don't tread on me, don't tread on my rights, like type thing.
So it's like one of those like protect the Second Amendment, like like free speech, like the protect the amendments, the Constitution.
Yeah.
Except like a really hard-headed way of saying it.
Yeah.
Are they even prepared for a riot?
They're not. Obviously, they're ill-prepared just in the sheer number of officers present. Like, they're drastically outnumbered.
Yeah.
I think it looks like that doesn't look like regular police gear, so I'm assuming it's like.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. They look like they're pretty geared up, but
it's important to note that they look nothing like the force that the Black Lives Matter protest that over the summer. So like,
yeah,
they were in comparison to protests that weren't.
Sure.
They were very ill prepared.
Yeah, 100%.
I saw something somewhere that said it was like somewhere around 9,300 arrests were made over the summer at Black Lives Matter protest, and it's during the actual day of January 6th. Only a total of 12 arrests were made by the end of the day of January 6th. So
there's more sympathy for this protest, which eventual riot, than the Black Lives Matter protests. Even when they were just protests, it was a lot more aggressive when they were just protests at that stage.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly
Like when there's people literally like breaking into stores and there's like actual like violence going on. I am more understanding, but not when like someone's like laying down there or just like standing there and you like there's no need to like freaking beat the shit out of someone.
Yeah.
And there are videos of that too, and yeah.
I think it was like too, like what you were kind of saying, like it's important to separate though, like the Black Lives Matter protests, like from the riots. Like I think it's like I don't think like riots came from Black Lives Matter protests. I think there were riots that took advantage of the movement. And I think like that's what's the negative side of like unfortunately being somebody who resonates with the left is there are these amazing movements like Black Lives Matter that have like these missions to accomplish like police reform, and then you have another organization on the left like Antifa who like in their shallow understanding like anti-fascism we can all agree on, but they take like advantage of those movements. And I think in some, and you see like this dangerous lumping together of this anarchist movement that was burning cities to the ground in comparison to these extremely moving and peaceful protests that were happening at the same time.
I think the fuel or the spark was Donald Trump for this protest versus the fuel or the spark for the Black Lives Matter protest was not something that like it's something much more credible, which is police violence, like police abuse of power and all that. And so like there's like a very stark difference. Like they had completely different motives and completely different reasons for being. And I think it's just not a great comparison. All right, so let's start focusing on this video again, because here's where they start literally hammering on the police officers. So they got past like the staircase, the initial staircase, and it seems like they're pushing the officers back. Pretty significantly. Jeez.
Yeah, it's just like a failure of training too. I think to a regards, it's like they broke these lines like at this point it seems like pretty quickly.
They're pushing them back so easily.
I think they started chant here.
That's crazy. What's their chant?
I think they start yelling like "Move, please move." Watch this. This is watch this door for the next like 2 minutes.
Watch the next 2 minutes? Okay.
They don't know why.
They form a line, you said? I'm going to lower the volume a little bit.
They're saying if you listen and if you're watching, that one guy starts hitting the door, the first guy that goes up, and nobody really knows why he's doing it. And if you notice, like the groupthink mentality, every single person that is walking behind the door, they don't know what's inside. They just know the person in front of them hit the door first. Okay. And I think it kind of really shows like how this mentality like took all of them over. They don't really know why they're doing what they're doing. They're just following the crowd and doing exactly what the person in front of them.
Okay, it's like a crowd mentality where like the person in front of you is doing something, so you're like, I guess I should be doing this too.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know if you actually see that.
Is that taser? Shit, yeah. I see like little like not anymore, but it was like little fields of lightning back there.
Yeah. If you, I don't think these people actually made it inside. I do think this was one of the entrances the Capitol Police held.
Okay.
And I think they gave them a run for their money.
That's, I guess, good. Because you heard that story of like.
I was just about to ask you the same thing about the Senate chambers. Who was like, wait.
Let's actually talk about it because I want to make sure we're talking about the same thing. Are we talking about like the officer that prevented the people from making it to the Senate chambers?
Yeah.
The mob on his heels. He shouted in his radio. Second floor! Meaning the mob was reaching the Senate chamber. At the top of the stairs, Goodman looked left. Between those chairs, the doors to the Senate floor, still open. Here's the moment that mattered. Goodman pushed this mob leader wearing a black QAnon t-shirt. It was a ruse to lure them away from the Senate chamber. And there, finally, backup arrived.
For backup?
Yeah.
I think his name was Eugene Gooding.
Eugene. Yeah, Eugene.
Yeah. Now, mind you, we're giving Representative Jim Jordan the Presidential Medal of Freedom this week. The president is probably like one of the leaders of this. He literally led the objection movement within the House. He's getting the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and this officer probably will not even be remembered by President Donald Trump.
Yeah, he won't be. I think Biden will acknowledge him. I
hope so.
I think some Republicans will acknowledge him too, because he protected everyone.
I think would have been like very seriously injured if they had gotten their hands on them.
Yeah. I mean, there were people in the Senate with guns pointing at the doors. Like, they were ready to.
That was a House. The Senate chambers were completely evacuated. It was only the House where they had to barricade the doors due to the members in the gallery.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think a majority of officers did a good job. Again.
Yes. Yeah.
At least at this door here, from what I'm seeing, they got pushed back fairly easily, but I think it also was the fact that they were like, holy cow, like, we can't really fend them off. Now,
from the National Guard in the first.
The National Guard had to be there. Like, they needed like an entire, like, they needed more bodies there for sure.
Look, this is what I was kind of talking about with the police. Like, this officer like was injured, and look, they assist him in getting back to the police force.
How did he get there? Holy cow.
Like, look, he's so confused. Like, he doesn't understand why, like, these people look like they should, like, from what they just did, they look like they should be trying to kill this man. But look, they help him get up there. They assist him in getting up there. And it's like, it just doesn't make sense. And it just shows that these people are radicalized and don't know why they were radicalized. They just believe way too heavily.
They're literally, like, punching at this man and taking his shield. Oh, my gosh. Like, it's the hypocrisy. And again, in their heads, it's not hypocrisy. It's like they're doing their civic duty of protecting this country, but it's so wrong. And it's because they believe in a single man to be like the emblem of truth and goodness, which is like not like the opposite of what Donald Trump is.
Yeah,
he's not a truthful person, but that they believe him. They do. They just freaking do. Heard recordings of people say like, I don't know like what to do after this election. Like, I'm just at a very low state. Like, I am willing to die for Donald Trump. I just don't know. Like, it was crazy. Like, it was a crazy recording, and you just like think about it. You're just like, how many people are literally willing to die for this person? Like, actually willing to die for him. Like, not just say it, but like are at that point that they're like, yeah, like I'm willing to go to war. I mean, clearly, like these people are sort of ready for war. I mean, I don't think they were expecting like an actual war, but it's just like they definitely have no problem with committing a federal crime.
Oh yeah. 71 million people that support the ideology that comes from Donald Trump and manifested itself in those people on January 6th. So
yeah. Man. He's definitely going to run again. I just don't know if he's going to announce it and then say, and that's going to calm people down.
It's one of the only reasons that I am on the fence about impeachment is because I think impeachment is deunifying, or unifying, whatever that word is. But I find it necessary to prevent him from being able to run in 2024.
That's a good point.
I'm pretty sure the entire Democrat caucus would support it. I think the only one who might not, I can't remember if he's a senator, or I think it is a senator, Joe Manchin from West Virginia, Lisa Murkowski from Alaska, Pat from Pennsylvania, and Ben Sasse from Nebraska have all called on him to resign. Yeah. So that's at least 3 Republicans that would vote for conviction. And I think it's extremely likely that Susan Collins and Mitt Romney would vote for conviction as well. Yeah. And that's not to say however many others, but I would say that's at least 5 additional Republicans that would bring it to a 55. And they would give men like Joe Manchin the opportunity to vote how they need to for their state to stay in the Senate.
Yeah, I can see that. But Mitch McConnell still holds the power between now and then to like have it held for a vote, right?
But I mean that changes January 20th. I'm pretty sure, like end of January.
But can they impeach him after he's out of office?
Yes.
And remove him? Oh wow. Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing. It's Representative James Clyburn. He's like the minority whip and I guess majority whip in the House. Sorry. Mm-hmm. He said that if they actually pass the articles of impeachment, that they probably won't pass him over to the Senate till after Biden's 100 days to not.
Yeah, I saw that. Thanks for that. It makes me think about certain comments reflecting on the impeachment not being worth it
Yeah.
differently. Thinking about it a little bit differently. All right, I'm gonna end it here, guys. I got other schoolwork to do and all this different stuff to do. But thanks for thanks for this. It's showing me this video and telling me about it. It's been a pleasure. Peace.
Bye.
So, all right. So that pretty much sums up the video. I thank you for watching. It's been a pleasure to cover this and cover the end of the Trump era, hopefully once and for all. I really hate talking about, I'm going to say this one more time, DJT. I'm going to just call him, I wish he had a nick. I just hate saying the word Trump now. It's just like Trump. Like, it's just, it's repetitive. Let's hope that I don't have to cover another segment about him again. I think that the Democratic Party needs to focus on these issues: income inequality, increasing the minimum wage, making college tuition free, or at least extremely affordable. These are the issues that Democrats win on. I think that just talking about our ex-president is not a winning issue. It's not a winning platform. I think that some of these rioters, some of these insurrectionists were radicalized because they were maybe from rural communities, from very vulnerable places in their lives, or something obviously failed them to bring them to that point to do that. And I think just blaming one person isn't the right solution. Yes, justice should prevail. There should be justice. There needs to be some sense of justice, of course. However, we need to understand that people aren't naturally radical like that. People don't. It's a process, and maybe social media is accelerating that process. But in the 2020s, we need to understand what is causing that. And I'm thinking a lot of it has to do with the fact that people aren't making as much money to keep up with inflation, with rising healthcare prices, with rising expenses of living, with rising rent. These things are, in my opinion, causing people to be in very vulnerable spots, to be in a place where they can be radicalized. That's my opinion. Food for thought. If you have any comments on what I just said, or you want to just feel free to continue on this discussion in the comment section below, feel free to do so. But before you put anything in the comment section below, make sure to like that video and subscribe. Extremely helpful for this channel to grow, and it's an important thing to do. It really helps me out, it helps this channel out. And as always, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching The Talk.